So the YSL Young Thug case, the jury is coming back on Monday. And the mainstream media has done a poor job covering this case, except for the Law and Crime channel. Law and Crime has a syndicated show, and I think they cover the case from time to time. But like CNN, MSNBC, Nightline, Dayline, 48 Hours, they're not covering this case. It's probably one of the most compelling cases in America today. But is a bunch of black rappers they don't know. They don't, if it was Drake, they'd probably be covering this case. But even though Young Thug is popular, they don't know Young Thug. So they say, well, it's not important. But this case is very important for so many things. So the Young Thug case. So Young Thug was arrested in May 2022. Jury selection did not begin until May 2023. Gunna, the rapper Gunna, he was arrested. He got caught up. So it was Young Thug and a bunch of dudes from YSL. They got arrested in May 2022. And Gunna was wrapped up in that. Gunna, I think, copped a plea or something. He got out in December of 2022. And then they started jury selection in May 2023. We are in August 2024. It is, as of March of 2024, it was already the longest running case ever in Fulton County. It was the most expensive case ever in Fulton County. And that was back in March. And we know who we have to thank for this? Yes, Superwoman herself, Fani Willis. I never liked her, man. Because when she was running, so the district attorney for Fulton County, when she ran the first time, was Paul Howard, I think. And Paul was going after the police because they allegedly killed, I have to say that, Rashard Brooks at the Wendy's there. And Paul Brooks, he put charges on the cops. What happened was, also during that time period, he was up for re-election. And they voted in Fani Willis. And the reason I was never a fan of Fani Willis, first, I don't know why they voted out. Paul had his own issues in the district attorney's office, so I kind of get it. So, okay, fine. But the thing that sealed it for me for Fani is that she punted on the charges against the police, and she sent the case over to the state. I think she sent to the state attorney general's office or something like that. She didn't try the case. Well, Paul was gonna try this case. She didn't, because I think she was actually endorsed by the police when she was running. So from that point on, I was not a fan of Fani Willis. And then we get to the Trump trial, and then we have this thing with Nathan Wade, her former boyfriend, lover, whoever it was. And Wade was a low circuit judge in Fulton County, and she added him to her team for the Trump case, even though his background didn't dictate that he should have been on that case. Especially, she almost moved him up to like a higher position for that case. He leapfrogged over a lot of people, and he got paid pretty good. But then at the same time, him and her were taking trips all over the place. He was still married. He was in the middle of a divorce, but still, he was taking trips. And I just feel like if you're a district attorney and you're going after someone like Trump, a high profile case, like everything should be on the up and up. Like, make sure everything's clean. And the last thing you want to do is, if it was a case of you two didn't know each other and then stuff happened later on, that's different. But if you two had a relationship or had some type of thing going on before this happened, it's almost like you're hooking up your boyfriend and then all this stuff happens. And then, so technically she probably should have been recused from that case. But Nathan Wade took the bullet, and he dropped out. So Fani Willis is over there with the Trump thing. So then, remember I mentioned before how she wouldn't go after the police. So she did the old playbook. Well, if I don't go after the cops, I'll go after rappers. And that's how Thug and those guys got arrested. And she was talking about, we're going to clean up the streets of Atlanta. Now, again, I don't know about YSL. I don't know if they're good or bad. I don't know anything about it because I don't live in Atlanta. But she is the old playbook, like, we're going to go after rappers to clean everything up. So she wasn't trying this case. She had her team of prosecutors trying this case. And the thing that I've realized about Fani Willis is that she does not know how to hire people. Like, as this case has been going on, like her, I don't know if she's just hooking up friends. I don't know what she's doing. Like, there's a lot of talented black lawyers in Atlanta. It's a lot of talented black lawyers in Atlanta, but it didn't seem like Fani Willis didn't hire any of them. I don't know what her hiring criteria is. It is really poor, but I'll get to that later. So this case, if you haven't been following it, they've had 3 judges. They had Judge Glanville, who looked like Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince. He was the main judge like forever. But he was doing some crazy things too. Like, sometimes if a lawyer shows up late, he made this one lawyer, I think he showed up like late once or twice. So he made him to write a paper why you shouldn't be late to court. And he said, if you don't finish up this paper over the weekend, you'll be in contempt. I will send you to jail. Like, he was doing wacky stuff like that. And plus he was letting the prosecution basically do whatever they wanted. And the reason he got bounced was, so there's a guy named Little Woody. He's a witness. And the prosecution was going to give him immunity. They gave him immunity to testify against YSL. And then he went to testify, and he kept on taking the fifth, even though they kept on saying, well, nothing's going to happen to you. But he kept on pleading the fifth. And then it went. So what happened was, after that, so they said he was in contempt. They sent him to jail over the weekend. So then they had an ex parte meeting. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but these are things I'm just picking up. So basically what happened was, on that Monday, they took him out of jail, and it was a meeting in the judge's chambers with Judge Glanville with the prosecution and Little Woody. Now, I just watched Law and Order on TV, but what I learned from Matlock is whenever you have a witness that's in the judge's chambers, you have the prosecutor, you have the judge, you have the witness sometimes, but you definitely have the defense lawyers in it. You have a defense lawyer in it, so you know what's going on. Well, there was no defense lawyers in there, and that's, ex parte means it's one-sided. Well, Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, found out about it because they hid it from him. And when they came back in, the court came into session, he asked Judge Glanville, hey, man, what about that secret meeting y'all was having? And Judge Glanville was like, what? He's like, how'd you find out about that? And Steele was like, yeah, it doesn't matter how I found out. It's not fair to my client that you had this meeting without me there, or any of the co-defendants, because that's the one thing Fani Willis did too. Usually when you have a big case like this, because there was a lot of defendants, you kind of do like maybe 2 at a time or maybe 3 at a time. She's trying everybody at once. That's why this thing's so expensive. She's trying all these guys at the same time, which is ridiculous. I never saw this on the practice. I never see all these guys try it at the same time. So yeah, so Brian Steele was like, so the judge was like, who told you? It's like, I ain't telling you. It's like, it doesn't matter who told me. The thing is, it's not fair you guys did this. It's against the law. So then he got thrown in jail. They took him out. But then one of the defendants one of the lawyers of the other defendant said the same thing. He's like, bruh, Lord Judge, you can't do this. Like, somebody had to be in the chambers with you and the witness and the prosecution. This doesn't make any sense. So then one of the other lawyers, I think it was Steele, Brian Steele, he wanted to get the judge recused, and Judge Glanville said no. And but then there was another lawyer, Bumpus, female lawyer named Bumpus. Her and another lawyer filed a motion to get rid of him, and it had happened. He was knocked out. So Judge Glanville's gone. They brought in another judge, black female judge, but I don't think she lasted a day. There was some type of conflict there that she couldn't be part of the case. That's another thing too about Fani Willis. Fani Willis, before she was district attorney, she was a defense lawyer, and one of the people she defended was the co-founder of YSL. So it makes you wonder, how do you go from being the lawyer of the co-founder from YSL to, like, I think that was like 2019, and then you flash forward like 3-4 years later, and she's prosecuting these guys? That's a little messy, but she's messy. So back to the case. So then they get another lawyer. So they got Judge Whitaker. There's a white chick. So at first, Judge Whitaker seemed like she was on the up and up. Judge Whitaker, it's like, she said we have to do stuff timely. Like, it seems like she was really asking the defense these questions. Like, the prosecution, like, she wanted to try to tighten up the prosecution, because the prosecution at that point was just doing whatever they wanted, and Judge Glanville just let it all happen. So at first, and then the way she talked was very nice, and she says like y'all, and she would laugh a little bit. You kind of fell into the trap. Like, okay, all right, she knows what she's doing. This white lady knows what she's doing. No, she's totally flipped. So what happened was, it comes to find out, Thug's defense team and the other defendants found out that the prosecution, Fani Willis' prosecution team. Now, she's not there. The chick named, I think it's Adriane Love. She's the head prosecutor in this. She acknowledged that they hid evidence about one of the witnesses or something like. But the prosecution hid evidence that they had And they did not give it to Thugs and YSL's defense teams. Now, I've been watching there's a Law and Order SVU forever, and usually, if the prosecution hides any type of evidence, usually that's a mistrial, because that's just prosecutorial neglect, and plus it's against the law. And one of the guys that I watch all the time about these cases, I forgot to mention that before, is the lead attorney. I'll list the people that I watch on this case later. And he mentioned, like in the Alex Baldwin case, that the prosecution did something wrong and the judge just threw the case out. Now, the difference is Alec Baldwin is a white dude who was a movie star at one time, and Young Thug is a black rapper in Atlanta, even though he's popular. And there's the difference. I think if Alec Baldwin was in Young Thug's place in Atlanta, they would have thrown out that case. But he is not a black rapper in Atlanta. So we hear this stuff. So the prosecutor, and then Adriane Love, the prosecutor, actually admitted, like, oh yeah, we might have held on to stuff too long. Yeah, we discussed it. She says, like, well, we discussed it with my team, and yeah, we might have held it on too long. Held it on too long. And Brian Steele was like, this is ridiculous. And Brian Steele, Brian Steele and all the defense lawyers was filing motions like this case needs to be dismissed. They was withholding evidence. So then Judge Whitaker one day she asked the prosecution, she said, she was giving them rope. She said, is there anything else? She said, just like that, is there anything else you guys hid from the defense? Anything at all? And Adriane Love just kind of stood there like thinking. And it was like, there was a long pause. Judge Whitaker asked her, is there anything else that you guys held on to too long? Adriane Love, the prosecutor, just stood there and said nothing. Nothing. Which means, yes, that means they've been hiding other bits of evidence. And Judge Whitaker said, well, you guys, I'll let you guys, we'll go to lunch and let you guys think it over. So I think they kind of figured something out after that. So in the meantime, like I said, the defense is filing all these motions to get a mistrial, right? So they come back into court a couple of days later, and we're proceeding the trial because the jury's been gone this whole time. And he said, we're proceeding with the trial with the jury. And this is just ridiculous. Every law person that's been covering this case on YouTube basically said the same thing. Doesn't matter if they're black or white. They have all said the same thing. This is ridiculous. Like if the prosecution is withholding evidence from the defense and he willfully did it, this is a clear mistrial. And there's other things too that Judge Whitaker is letting go. Like Judge Whitaker has proven that she's no different than Judge Glanville. At least with Judge Glanville, he was on the up and up. You basically knew that he was friends with Fani Willis. It's almost like, okay, I'm just doing her a favor. I'm not, I don't know if Judge Whitaker is even a fan of Fani Willis, but like someone said in one comment, they said, judges, prosecutors, cops, this is all incestuous. They all know each other. They all look out for each other. And that's the scary thing. The one thing that's great about this case is it shows how bad it is in Fulton County. Fulton County is horrible. Now, again, I could say that about Akron. I could say that about Cleveland, Detroit, LA, New York. Like, Rikers in New York is horrible. You can say like we need an overhaul of the judicial system. But the problem is, as long as we have people who are making money off prisons, as long as people keep on building new prisons, they need bodies in these prisons. And as long as there are black men in this country, they will house as many black men as possible in these prisons. The thing that screwed them up was the 3 strikes rule, because you had white dudes getting involved with meth and they got caught up in it, and then you had a lot of white folks getting caught up with the 3 strikes, and the people start saying, hey, that's not fair. Well, yeah, it was fair when it's just black folks, but now white folks getting caught up in it, and now it's not fair, and they fought to fight that 3 strikes rule. But just overall, this case has just proven how either incompetent, corrupt, incestuous Fulton County is. And the crazy thing is people reelected in Atlanta. They reelected Fani Willis as the district attorney. Listen, I loved Atlanta. I used to go out in Atlanta a lot. Like, I think the last time I was down there was like 2010. But I love Atlanta. Like, Atlanta to me, like every time I go down there, it feels nice down there. But I have no idea why folks voted her back in. like, I watch MSNBC. I remember like when they said she was going to go after Trump, and like Lawrence O'Donnell and Rachel Maddow, who I like, they were all like, oh my God, yay, Fani Willis. It's like, nah, this chick is horrible. I don't know who you watching. Okay, fine. She's going after Trump. But this chick is horrible. And I think when this case is finally over, and Judge Whitaker said that this might take another 7 months, he got arrested in 2022. We might not see a conclusion to this case. If there's not a mistrial at all, which it should be, this case might go to the jury to deliberate in 2025, which is ridiculous. I saw there was like an article in one of those Atlanta papers like last year talking about how the jail system down there is like a new Guantanamo Bay. Like there was a guy that sat in jail for like 10 years before his case came to the court. 10 years he sat in jail before it came to court. That's like Rikers in New York City. So it's just ridiculous. Like, yeah, when this case is finally done, there's going to be so much investigations. They're going to find out especially in Fulton County, they're going to find out how much money it cost to try this case. How many other cases was backlogged because Fani Willis was just focusing on Trump and Young Thug? Why the hell did she try these co-defendants at the same time? And that's just the why. How much more evidence did they hide from the Young Thug case? Because most people are saying that if Young Thug and YSL is convicted, it could probably get overturned just by the misconduct of not just Judge Glanville, but also maybe Judge Whitaker. Like, we have to keep an eye on what she's going to do. But yeah, Judge Glanville is going to get investigated. Fani Willis is going to get investigated. She already got started getting investigated for her relationship with Nathan Wade. I don't even care about the Trump case at all because that's the election case. I just care about like all that stuff was involved because her and Wade was going on these trips together, and how much was that on the dime of the prosecution's office? Like, how much money has he been actually spending this whole time? Like, it's Fani Willis, whatever political aspirations she had once upon a time when she became district attorney, they will be completely dashed by the time we get to like 2026. Because I don't know how there's going to be a lot of people who's going to lose their law licenses, and not just her, like people in her prosecution team. There's going to be so many investigations, and so many people's going to be disbarred or reprimanded or stripped of their judgeships. Like, it's just ridiculous what's going on. So if you are interested in watching the continuation of the Young Thug YSL case, I watch a few of these channels. The channel I watch the most, the lead attorney here. Hope you guys are doing well. Lead attorney is where I go to because Lead, with his co-host AD to the Son of Power, they live stream the YSL case almost every day. Every day they do it, and they have commentaries. So Lee is really good at breaking things down because Lee is a 20-year attorney in Georgia. So they're down there where it is. Well, he's down there. I think she's in Boston. So it's him and his co-host AV. Lee has been busy lately, so if it's not on Lead Attorney's channel, usually at 9 o'clock, it's on AV to the Son of Power, so it's number 7, so it's AV to the Son of Power, so she'll have the case. Nate the lawyer, he does recaps from time to time. He covers different cases, but he does do YSL recaps from time to time. There's a channel that I just came across recently, and she's really good. She says, I am not a lawyer, but, and she's really good. She's just, I don't know if she got a law degree. I think she's just really good and observant about this case. And she's really good at covering this case. So she covers the case every day. There's Professor Nez, I think. He's like an independent type dude, but he's really good. He's been covering the case too, quite a bit. So, and there's another guy too. I forgot his name. He's just a regular dude covering the case, but yeah, lead attorney, AV to the Son of Power, Nate the lawyer. I am not a lawyer, and Professor Nez, they all cover the cases in their own way. If you want a non-commentary look at the case, go check out Law and Crime, the Law and Crime channel. They have 2 channels. They have Law and Crime and Law and Crime Trials. Check out the Trials channel for that. There's Fox 5 in Atlanta, if you want to check that out. And there's also, I think, 11 Alive in Atlanta. So you got Law and Crime Trials channel, you got Fox 5, and you got 11 Alive. So I'm quite fascinated by this YSL case. I wish the mainstream media was covering this case because it's just as compelling as the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case or the Alec Baldwin case, like these, or the ballerina case. Like this, it's just as compelling. But like I said, they don't care about Young Thug. And to be honest, I'm not the biggest Young Thug fan. I mean, I never was. I knew who he was. I knew some of his music. So I'm not saying all this stuff because I'm a Thug fan. It's not that at all. It's just, it just seemed like they're hiding stuff, is incompetent. Even from the very beginning, it just seemed like Fani Willis was trying to make a name for herself by going after this rapper and this crew of dudes. And even if and again, I don't know if these guys are guilty or innocent, because I'm not down there. I don't know much about YSL. And there's probably some truth to what they're saying, but because this case is so horrible, the judge has been horrible, the prosecutor's been horrible, like all this stuff is so bad in this case. How in the world do you not have a mistrial? And maybe I should become a lawyer.